If you're watching this, then there's a solid chance that you're a people pleaser. But there's no judgment here. I was too. But I changed that, and I'm going to tell you exactly how. I used to be the person that said yes to everything, and I used to put other people's needs and feelings before my own, and I realised how much damage that was actually doing to me. I was saying yes to make other people happy and not focusing on my own happiness. It really made my self-esteem drop, and it made me feel even more anxious because I was trying to keep everyone else happy and not focus on myself. I was neglecting myself, and I don't want that to happen to you. So in this video we're going to put a stop to people pleasing and change you from being the nice person to actually setting boundaries without hurting people's feelings or feeling guilty for it. The thing about people pleasing is that it feels like you're being nice, but really you're just putting yourself last. You're not listening to your own thoughts and feelings. You're not following your own instinct. You're trying to please other people because you don't want to upset them, or you don't want to seem like the rude person. You want everyone to like you, and it's just not great. It's not the right mindset to have. You shouldn't be trying to please everyone else. You should be setting boundaries that let people know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. A people pleaser is someone that other people can easily walk over if they let them. And we don't want that to happen. Okay? So I'm going to help you go from people pleaser to self pleaser, because that's what really matters, putting yourself first. I always found myself putting other people's thoughts and feelings and emotions before my own. I used to agree to things even if I didn't want to do them, and I just wanted to make everyone else happy and not be like the bad one or be the nice person. But there's a difference between being a nice person and being someone that people can just walk all over and know that you're going to agree to everything. I found that I was sacrificing my own happiness for the sake of others, and that should never be the case. You should never feel like your happiness comes last and that everyone else matters more than you. Okay, so what are the signs of being a people pleaser? What if you're not actually sure if you are one or not, or if you're just being nice? What's the difference between being genuinely nice and being a people pleaser? You say yes when you really want to say no. You apologise excessively even if you didn't do anything wrong. You feel guilty when you prioritise yourself. You often avoid conflict at all costs. You might find yourself over-explaining things just to justify yourself and your decisions. You feel responsible for other people's emotions and their reactions. You hide your true feelings just to keep other people comfortable. You worry a lot about what people think of you. You downplay your needs and your opinions. You feel uncomfortable when someone is disappointed in you. You take on more than you can handle just to avoid letting people down. You say I'm fine when you're really not. You feel drained or resentful or unseen, especially in relationships. After an interaction, you often second guess yourself. You base your own self-worth on being agreeable and useful and kind. You have difficulty identifying what you actually want, and you stay in friendships or relationships for longer than you should because you're afraid of being mean. If any of these signs sound like you, then you are a people pleaser, but we are going to change that. Why might have you become a people pleaser? What causes this behaviour? People pleasing doesn't just happen, it builds. There are experiences and it's learned over time. It's behaviour that's learned because of certain things. So here are some reasons that have likely influenced if you are a people pleaser. You learned that love was conditional. At the time you probably didn't even realise it, but you learned that love only came when you did something right or that you were well behaved, and you got that warmth and that connection that you needed when you were good. But if you weren't good, or if you weren't doing as you were told, then that love wasn't there. That connection wasn't there. You then learned that people pleasing was the only way to secure that love and affection. You grew up around tension or conflict. If you found yourself always surrounded by conflict and tension, you might have found yourself trying to be the peacekeeper or trying to avoid it and make everyone happy because you didn't want that conflict to then explode. So you likely grew up knowing not to cause trouble because that would then lead to conflict and tension. You then knew that the only way to stay safe was to be agreeable and do as you were told. You were praised for being good. If you were constantly considered the good child and labelled as very easy and always did as they were told, it actually isn't a good thing. Instead of trusting your own instincts or following your own opinions, you then listened to someone else and changed your behaviour and changed your views because someone else made you believe that they were right. You learned to put other people's needs and opinions before your own. And what you really needed was someone to acknowledge your flaws and to acknowledge you. Another thing that leads to people-pleasing behaviour is that if you try to set boundaries, they would lead to punishments. If you try to stand up for yourself and try to say no, you were then punished for that. You weren't allowed to talk back or have an opinion or try and disagree with someone. So you then learn not to set boundaries. And even now you struggle to set them for yourself. You didn't feel listened to or emotionally seen. If your feelings were easily dismissed or not listened to, not acknowledged, then you likely learned to hide them. You then believe that, okay, my feelings aren't valid. No one is listening to me. No one is seeing what I'm going through. And because you hid your emotions, you would just pretend you were fine, even if you're not. Now, I think you've worked out that people pleasing isn't a good thing. But what are the real consequences of it? Number one is resentment. You go through life resenting people. That resentment starts to build because you give, and it just feels like others take. And you likely don't say a word about it, so that resentment is only going to get bigger and bigger. Another consequence is you feel like you're losing touch of your own identity. If you're so focused on other people and trying to make them happy, then you lose touch with yourself and what you actually need. You may even stop forming your own opinions and start to mirror other people. Next, your own needs go unmet. If you're a people pleaser, you're not meeting your own needs, you're trying to meet everyone else's. With people pleasing, you also begin to feel invisible. You feel like no one can see you, no one is listening to you. You've hidden your own needs, you've hidden your voice, and you've stopped making boundaries. You burn yourself out. People pleasing causes you to carry the weight of everyone else's burden. You've got all that weight on your shoulders of everyone else, and it's leaving you exhausted because you can't then focus on yourself or look after yourself like you should. And lastly, people pleasing has the consequence of attracting one-sided relationships. People pleasers tend to attract narcissists, takers, emotionally unavailable partners, and friends who only call on you when they need something. Now, this isn't because your boundaries aren't strong enough, it's because your empathy is too high. Okay, so how can we stop people pleasing for good? How can we stop being a nice one and actually say no for once? When I was a people pleaser and I was saying yes to everything and putting other people's needs before my own, I realised that something needed to change. I knew I had to be selfish in the best way possible and put myself first. And this is how I did it. The first thing to conquer is saying no without feeling like you're letting someone else down. This can often be difficult at first because saying no feels like you are disappointing someone, or that you are letting someone down, or that you are being selfish. I used to find myself automatically saying yes, and I think this is a thing as an introvert and a people pleaser. You find yourself just saying yes straight away without actually thinking about what you're saying yes to. So here's what you can do. Pause before every answer. When someone asks you something and you're not quite sure about it, instead of immediately agreeing, take a moment, just a brief moment, to think about what they've said. What is it that they're actually asking you, and are you okay with that? And in the moment, it's easy to think, oh yeah, I'll just say yes. But if you say yes straight away, you're then going to reflect on that and think, oh God, I wish I hadn't said yes. I wish I hadn't agreed, because this is why I don't want to do that. If you're not sure in the moment, a pause lets you just think. And if you're not sure whether to say yes or no, then a phrase you can use is, give me some time to think about that and I'll get back to you. That's not rude. That's giving you the chance to then think about what you want to say and whether what you're agreeing to is something that you want to do. Phrases like "I'll get back to you" and "let me think about that" are just buffer phrases that you can use instead of saying yes straight away. They're much softer than saying no outright. What I also realised is that you don't need to explain yourself either. So even if you do say no to something, you don't need to explain why you said no. It's no one else's business, and you don't need to validate your answer. Honestly, the less you explain, the more confident you sound. Some polite ways to say no are, "I can't commit to that right now. That doesn't work for me, but thank you for thinking of me. And I'm not available to help with that." Now let's talk boundaries. If you want to stop being a people pleaser, you have to set boundaries. No matter how daunting they may seem, boundaries are such a good thing and you need them in your life. I always used to be worried about setting boundaries because I thought, well, what if it stops people from liking me? But then I realised that the right people will understand, and you have to set boundaries so that the wrong people don't walk all over you. Think of it this way: how many people let you know their own boundaries? Now think, what is stopping you from setting your own? Whatever it is you need to set a boundary for, you can enforce it. I don't take calls after work, but I will speak to you tomorrow. I rest between so and so and so and so. Or I'm not free this day because I do this. Now if someone tries to push your boundary, you don't need to try and convince them. You just need to let them know what the boundary is and leave it at that. You could say something like, "I understand, but my answer is still no. Your boundary is your boundary, even if someone else doesn't like it." The main thing with stopping people pleasing is that you need to expect discomfort. You need to know that at first it's not going to be easy trying to say no to people and put yourself first. It's normal. It's normal to feel anxious, but the more you do something, the more confident you'll feel. And over time, it will just become more natural. It will be easier for you to say no, and it will be easier for you to think about yourself and not other people. Some people might not like this new version of you. If they've always known you as a people pleaser and you suddenly start saying no and enforcing your boundaries, then they're going to think, "Oh, hold on, who is this person? I don't like this person." But that's not something you need to worry about. The people who actually care about you will adjust. They will see the change in you and learn to listen to you. You don't lose love by setting boundaries. You lose fake people that don't deserve to be in your life. So what does life start to feel like after you stop being a people pleaser? It feels good. It feels like the weight is off your shoulders. You realise that you're allowed to rest, that you're allowed to say no to things, that you're not hurting anyone else's feelings, that you're putting your needs first, and that's okay. You learn that you can say no without explaining yourself. My challenge for you is to set one small boundary this week. One little thing that is going to help you embrace that freedom of being like, yeah, this is about me today. And if you want to, let me know what your boundary is in the comments. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. And as always be your wonderful introverted self.